We're here this afternoon talking to Dai Hanshi Kenneth Winthrop, and I'm going to ask him a few questions. Honored to have you here, sir, to kind of fill in some gaps.
I'll try.
Okay. The first question I have for you, could you tell us a little bit about the history of Miyama and where it came from?
Okay, Miyama actually originated in the South Bronx. The founder of Miyama, Antonio Pereria, he was a commando in the Second World War, and he had some training in hand-to-hand combat with the Australians. And anyway, when he came back, he decided to open up a school. And he had some judo training prior to that. And in 1962, he went to Japan because he gave a demonstration in the New York Athletic Club. And there was a gentleman there who was a 7th-degree black belt in Kodokan Judo who had mentioned to him, it'd be a good idea if you went to Japan, went to the Kodokan and trained. So he did. He did train in Japan. So he thought about it, and he eventually went to Japan in 1962. He spent 6 months training in judo during the day at the Kodokan and Aikido night under Tohei Sensei. And for his labors after 6 months, he got a 2nd-degree black belt in judo and a teaching certificate from the founder of Aikido's son, Oshiba. Anyway, when he came back in 1962, he came back from the training in Japan. He tried to teach what he had learned. And of course, he had a few students who were not too happy with some of the techniques because they were very classical, very traditional. And he thought about that, and he came up with this system which worked for the street. And that's how it came about. And it's a very brutal system if you study it the way it's meant to be studied.
Right. Well, speaking of how it's meant to be studied, do you have any unique memories of the founder, Antonio Pereria, that maybe people don't have knowledge of?
Pain and more pain.
What was it like when you first met him?
He was kind of a mild-mannered guy until you got on the mat, and then he just changed, kind of like Godzilla.
Really? I hear that he's sort of a fiery, kind of fierce kind of
very
instructor.
Very fierce instructor. No nonsense instructor.
You don't see that much anymore in today's martial arts world. Someone so fierce.
No, anybody who trained old school is completely different than anybody who trained today.
Right. So that brings me to the next question, because nowadays modern day students are really discovering martial arts through the sport of mixed martial arts. Now, back in the day, it was, you got involved because of bullying, you got involved for all kinds of reasons. Maybe you saw Bruce Lee or something like that. But nowadays, besides bullying, young adults and even kids are coming in because they see mixed martial arts. What do you think the pros and cons of that are?
Mixed martial arts is competition. Pure Jiu-Jitsu is street self-defense. And that's what you want. If you look at defend yourself against any kind of attack, you have to be brutal. You have to do what the attack warrants.
Right. Is there, and I know here at the Hambo Dojo here for Miyama, we do have mixed martial arts students, and we do try to sort of adopt the Miyama mindset to that. How do you think that's translating over?
It's translating pretty well because the mixed martial arts is based on conditioning. You want to be able to outlast your opponent, do what you have to do to take him to the ground or score a point. But in the street, there's no points. There's no restrictions. Anything goes.
That brings me to my next question. Elio Gracie, the founder of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, which so many people are very aware of these days, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In fact, when people hear the words Jiu-Jitsu, they're immediately thinking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, ground grappling and things. But I was reading his book, and he has a whole chapter in his book that talks about real jiu-jitsu is street self-defense.
Yeah.
It's not the other stuff. The ground stuff was made to, because you may go to the ground, but they have a core set of techniques that are all standing. That being said, in his viewpoint, according to his book before he passed away, was that it is about self-defense. I have a feeling Miyama is in the same category as
Very
that.
much so. It's strictly self-defense.
Self-defense. So what is real jiu-jitsu then?
It's a little bit of everything. It's hand-to-hand, weapons, ground fighting, pretty much anything you can come up with is going to be involved somewhere, somehow.
Right. I remember you saying that Antonio Pereria would say that he's developing modern day samurai.
Right.
I think you can take that modern day samurai mindset and put it all the way to, whether it be in the ring or certainly in the street, or even a soldier in the battlefield, taking that mindset of a modern day samurai, I think would be very important. What are your feelings on that?
I tend to agree with that. In the real world, the point is to win. You're not worried about points. You're not worried about what the other individuals who are watching you. You're worried about coming out of it, hopefully unscathed.
Right.
So you do whatever it takes to win that battle.
Not many people have the opportunity to ask a question like this from not only a Grandmaster of the martial arts or a Hanshi of the martial arts, but someone who is as active as you are at your age, and right now you're 81.
Correct.
As active as you are in your age, you're here at the dojo 2-3 times a week minimum, sometimes more.
Right.
And you're actively on the mat, and I always see you stretching, doing all kinds of stuff. So I have to ask this question: what is the secret to your longevity?
I don't know. There is no secret.
What are you doing that other people your age aren't doing?
Probably stretching a lot. And what I do pretty much daily is practice old school forms. So that gives me striking techniques and whatever I need to utilize when I'm actually doing a regular workout.
I heard that, when water stands still, it dies. It becomes stale and it dies. And when it's moving, it's alive. Maybe that's something to that, because we're 70% water.
Yeah.
Maybe still moving, staying active, and just continuing to evolve. And I know you're still learning stuff.
Always. You never stop learning.
And I noticed that you, even when other teachers and stuff will come into the Hamburg dojo here, that you are the first one not to try to teach them something, but you're listening and you're learning from them, and that's so unusual from some. Well, maybe it's not unusual, but in a world where ego and gosh, dare I say, fantasy comes into play with some people. That doesn't seem to be the case with you. You always seem to be learning and always seem to be receptive to everyone that you meet, and also, by the way, willing to teach everything from the beginner all the way up.
Right.
Could this be something that's different than what everybody else is doing?
I can't answer that because I don't know what everybody else is doing. I know what I do.
Good answer. Good answer. All right, fair enough. So, the big question here. We hope to keep Miyama, the way that you teach it and the way we've been doing here, alive well after you've passed and I've passed and generations to come. What, if any, words of wisdom would you share with those new students and future masters alike, if they could go back 30, 40 years and find this video? What would you tell them? What words of wisdom would you give them?
Train hard, train regularly, and do some research on some of the old masters of various martial arts, because they have some really interesting takes on how to train. today's training, not so much here, but in a lot of other schools, is nothing. People will come out of that and they'll end up getting hurt because they have no clue what they're doing.
Right. Keep it real.
Keep it real. Train hard.
Keep it real. Well, thank you, Hanshi. I appreciate it. And we'll hopefully, do you want to add anything? Do you want to tell anything to students, future students, people that may be under you, and I don't know, gosh, I hope this video will last 30, 40, 50 years.
Pretty much just like what I said, train daily if you can, train hard, and be humble. You know, try not to be abusive. You want to teach your student how to protect himself and his family.
All right, thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much.